A warm welcome to you for tuning into Gambian Talents News Bulletin. I am your presenter, Finejala. We begin with our top stories. 3 ambassadors have presented their credentials to President Adama Barrow. The task force mandate to execute the controversial operation to clear the roads has resumed with full force, which has so far seen mass arrests of vendors who were found occupying the already cleared places. We now shift our attention to international scene. Doctors in Nigeria are on strike after one of their colleagues were kidnapped. This comes as Nigeria sees trending kidnapping for the past decades. This and more follow after this short break. Welcome back. In case you are just tuning in, this is Gttv News Bulletin with me, Finejala. 3 international diplomats this week presented their credentials to President Adama Barrow at State House. The ambassadors are from Chad, Spain, and the United Nations. Our reporter Aissatou Koli was at the presidency and tells us more.
His Excellency President Adama Barrow on Tuesday received in his office 3 different diplomats at the State House in Banjul. The first to arrive to present her credentials to President Barrow was Mali-based Chadian ambassador overseeing other West African countries including Gambia, Mrs. Kausubi Ndendinkiga. Speaking to the media, Ambassador Kausubi thanked the president for the warm reception, adding that Gambia and Chad shared a long and great bilateral relationship and assured the Gambian leader and its people of working towards a new dynamic cooperation.
C'est un grand honneur pour moi ce matin d'être reçu par son Excellence le Président Adama Barrow, chef de l'État.
It is a great pleasure today for her to be received by His Excellency the President Adama Barrow.
Et comme vous venez de le dire, effectivement, c'est pour lui remettre les lettres de créance qui m'accréditent en qualité d'ambassadeur extraordinaire et plénipotentiaire de la République du Tchad auprès de la République de Gambie.
He said, as you may already know, my visit here is to present my letters of credence as the ambassador extraordinary and president of Chad to the Gambia.
Vous demandez mes impressions, mais c'est la joie, c'est le bonheur, c'est l'honneur.
So we are asking what her impression.
C'est la fierté.
She said today is a great joy. She is proud and she is happy. She is really happy to be here in the Gambia.
Le Tchad et la Gambie partagent déjà beaucoup de choses dans le domaine multilatéral et même bilatéral. Ce sont des relations qui existent déjà.
He said there is already existing relation between the Gambia and Chad. They are in the areas of multilateral and bilateral.
Next to present his letters of credence was the United Nations resident coordinator to the Gambia, Mr. Carl Frederick Paul. After a closed-door meeting with President Adama Barrow, His Excellency Carl Frederick also thanked the President for the warm welcome. He assured UN's continuous support through the Gambia to strengthen cooperation in priority areas towards implementing the National Development Plan (NDP), the country's transitional justice processes, and the security sector reforms.
Indeed, I just presented my letters of credence to His Excellency, the President of the Republic, Mr. Adama Barrow, and it was a very warm welcome. We spoke about how we can continue to strengthen furthermore the relationship between the Banjul and New York, but also how the United Nations will continue to assist and bring its support to the development and achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals in the country. We spoke of also the different aspects regarding our intervention. We focus on the transitional justice and the security sector reform, but also on different other parts of development that we are planning, but also doing in the country, ranging from education, peace building, agriculture, youth empowerment initiative, and also the preparation for the summit of the future.
Last to present his credentials was the ambassador designated from the Kingdom of Spain, Maria Dolores Rios Petsy. Ambassador Petsy also thanked President Barrow for the warm reception, adding that Gambia and the Kingdom of Spain shared an excellent relationship with more than 25,000 Gambians based in the country and are working well and are fully integrating.
I am very happy to be here. I have presented my credentials to the President of the Gambia, and we have had a very good conversation, very friendly. We have spoken of the excellent relations between the Gambia and Spain. We have more than 25,000 Gambians in Spain that are working very well and are fully integrated. The president has told me that they are happy there and that many of the Gambians that are here have relatives and friends in Spain.
Reporting for Gttv News, Aissatou Tukuli.
The Gambian Minister of Information, Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, has defended the revised draft constitution aimed dissatisfaction over the mission of certain provisions. Speaking to the state broadcaster, he described the document as a standard which he believes should be passed. The $1 million draft constitution was rejected by the parliament after the lawmakers from the opposition and those who backed the government of Barrow disagree over certain provisions, including the controversial presidential term limit. Speaking to the state broadcaster, the Minister of Information, Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, once again defended the revised draft constitution as a standard law book that he said caters for the needs and aspirations of the country and its citizens. Despite dissatisfaction mounting around the revised draft constitution that certain provisions have been omitted by the executive arm of the Barrow government without consulting other political parties and civil society groups, Dr. Ceesay, however, said everything cannot be in the document. He further went to defend the government on demanding school fees from senior secondary school students, which were free of charge. He said the government wished to, but there are limited resources to cater for that project.
Constitutions are supposed to be providing frameworks for governance. There are some rights. If you put them in a constitution, you put yourself in a serious situation. Now, if you know, as a country, as a government, a particular right cannot be guaranteed because of resource constraint, and you put that in a constitution, you open yourself for litigation. Now, if you put in a constitution that higher education should be free in the Gambia, but you don't have the wherewithal to provide that money, how much will it cost to say that secondary education is free? How much will it cost the government? Where will the money come from? And you cannot provide it.
Concluding his interview with the broadcaster, he said that the government must be smart and understand what is possible in the future.
People can take the everyday people are going to take the government to the courts to say that, well, the government is violating the constitution because the constitution promises and guarantees this particular freedom and the government is not doing it. So the government must be smart and understand what is possible in the foreseeable future.
Reporting for Gttv News, I am Funijala. The umbrella body of the Scorpions Fans Club on Friday were at the presidency to meet the country's leader. The fan club's visit was meant to discuss their aims and objectives with President Barrow as the Scorpions are fighting to secure another place in the 2025 AFCON after their historic back-to-back in the Continental Championship. Our indomitable reporter Aissatou Tukuli reports.
The National Scorpion Fans Club on Friday paid a courtesy visit to the office of the president in Banjul. The group was received by President Adama Barrow. Their visit was aimed at discussing their achievements and also highlighting some of the challenges faced during the course of their operational duties. Speaking to the media, Abdoulaye Pouy, the admin and financial advisor of the National Scorpion Fan Club, thanked the president and his government, as well as the Ministry of Youth and Sports, for their continuous cooperation, adding that
we have expressed some of the objectives and achievements that we have achieved since our establishment in 2001, our collaboration with his government through the Ministry of Youth and Sport, and also we have briefly explained to him some of the challenges we are facing as far as the operational aspect of the National Fan Club is concerned, and how best we can continue our collaborative work, because we know sports development cannot be done or left alone with the government. It is entirely on all of us as citizens of this country to rally and support the government to make sure that the sports and its related activities have been supported.
Pouy also said they have highlighted to the Gambian leader some of the challenges faced, such as mobility, land issue, and also the frustration faced during Gambia's home games.
Some of the challenges that we have spoke with the president, among them, we have highlighted to him on issues regarding mobility, because we know activities of this fan club, knowing that we have decentralized our membership base. We have members in all our regional chapters, and mobilizing our members when it comes to national event has always been a challenge. So our operational activities, it's always a challenge to have an easy mean of mobility, which we have expressed and our concern to him for support in any way his government can come in. Other areas are also in the area of our national stadium. We expressed to him that the whole country has acknowledged the development work that is currently happening at the stadium. But as fans that are representing the entire fan base of this country, we are also eager. Visibility and outreach in numbers can only be achieved when we are able to host our own home games. We have also expressed issues of us having our headquarters regarding land issues and other support that can be rendered to ease the operational activities of the fan club.
For his part, President Barrow expressed gratitude to the National Scorpion Fans Club for their efforts and reaffirms his government's continued support and commitment in supporting the youth of the country, particularly in the area of sports. Aissatou Koli, Gttv News.
Officials from the Office of the Ombudsman also presented their 2021 to 2022 activity report to President Barrow. The report remains confidential to the public, but the office highlighted key areas discussed by the President. Aissatou Koli again.
President Adama Barrow on Friday received in his office members of the Office of the Ombudsman at the State House in Banjul. The visit was to present their activity report for the year 2021 and 2022 to the President, as part of the requirement of the Ombudsman Act to submit their report to the President. Bakari K. Sanyang, head of the Ombudsman Office, said their visit at the Presidency is to discuss issues related to their mandates of the Office of the Ombudsman.
And today the issues we reported to the President were those complaints that we've heard from the public concerning their interaction with public officers as well as the institutions. And we've also reported to him our findings that we've done in during our own investigation or our own observation in the activities of other institutions. And one notable institution that we discussed with him was our activity during the voter registration, the presidential elections, as well as the National Assembly elections conducted by the IEC. Because we felt it was our responsibility to ensure that all the processes and compliance with the rules and regulations as it's about was our mandate to be responsible of asset declaration issues, where public officers are supposed to make declarations of their assets at the time of their employment every 2 years. Here that we discussed with him is a report on our visits to all detention centers, including the prisons, all police stations, the psychiatric tanka, immigration detention centers, drug law enforcement detention centers, to see people who have been detained, whether they have been availed the rights and privileges as required by law.
In responding to how many complaints they received and how they are dealt with, Mr. Sanyang said complaint reports remain confidential to the public, but added that it's only the President who is presented with the full detail of the reports.
The Office of the Ombudsman is always a confidential report. We do not divulge most of the issues. Only one person sees our report where identities of either the complainants or the people against whom they are complaint is seen, and that's the President. We also report to the National Assembly, but even for the National Assembly, the law prohibits us from disclosing the identity of the people.
The Office of the Ombudsman is a constitutional institution mandated to investigate complaints of injustice, unfair treatment, abuse of power, mismanagement, maladministration, discrimination on grounds set out on the Constitution, corruption and unfair treatment perpetrated by public officers against their fellow public officers or against other members of the public in execution of their official duties. Reporting for Gttv News, Aissatou Koli.
The operation to clear the roads has resumed with a full swing of mass arrests of vendors who were found occupying what they call encroached areas within the Greater Banjul. The task force vowed to prosecute anyone found liable of breaking the law.
The second phase of the operation has so far seen a mass arrest of vendors for what they call breaking the country's laws, with almost its full swing of enforcement within the Greater Banjul area, seemingly futile after taking a wild break. But its return saw the task force detaining dozens of vendors who are said to have broken the laws by returning or reoccupying declared spaces. The latest places that have been revisited by the task force accompanied by the armed soldiers and police were Tipa Garage, Manjai and Sukuta Jabang traffic light. Speaking to reporters, Inspector Jallo, who is leading the operation team, said that anyone found wanting for breaking the laws by encroaching again will be taken before a court of law. But despite the mass demolition and arrest, hopeless vendors continue reoccupying some of the already cleared places. They said they have no place to go to, as many are the breadwinners of their families. For Gttv News, I am Fatmata S. Baji.
At the Serekunda East Nawetan DOB football team triumphed over T Central with a comfortable win of 2-1. But their opponent team is now looking forward of healing their wound in their next encounter in the tournament. Our reporter Yaya Sedi reports.
DBO football team have stunned T Central with comfortable 2-1 victory in the ongoing Serekunda East Sport Committee Nawetan, sponsored by Africell. DBO Boubacar Ndour opened the scoreline in the 7th minute of the game, but T Central said Tijan Jallo quickly leveled the tally from the set-piece spot. Coming from the halftime break, Ibrahim Mendy doubled the score for DBO with brilliant close-range header. In his post-match interview, the victorious DBO head coach Ibrahim Massohna expressed satisfaction for the victory, while urging fans to continue cheering the boys. However, defeated T Central gaffer Sima Lamin promised fans to come back stronger, as he said he and his boys will go back to the drawing board to sort out their mistakes. Reporting for Gttv Sport News, I am Yasid.
We now shift our attention to international scene. Doctors in Nigerian public hospitals have started a 7-day nationwide strike to demand the release of their colleague, Dr. Gambian Popola, who has been held by kidnappers for 8 months. The mother of 5 was taken from her home in the middle of the night on the 27th of December, alongside her husband and a nephew. Modulamin Job tells us more.
Her husband was released in March after a ransom was reportedly paid, but the kidnappers held onto the ophthalmologist and her relative. The doctors say they will not even provide emergency care during the strike. They feel that the security agencies are not doing enough to secure Dr. Popola's freedom. President of the Doctors Association, Dr. Deli Abdullahi, told the BBC it's been 8 months of agony for her family and her colleagues. The life of doctors should matter to Nigerians, adding that if nothing changes, they would declare an indefinite strike. Her colleague, Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Okpakani, said doctors were demoralized and terrified. In a country where medical workers are leaving, those that have chosen to stay should be protected. She's been described as a very dedicated and professional and responsible family woman. At the time she was kidnapped, she was still breastfeeding her youngest child. The hospital in Kaduna, northwest Nigeria, is one of the biggest eye hospitals in the country. Experts say the hospital's location on the outskirts of Kaduna City makes it an easy target for kidnappers. Her home was within the vicinity of the hospital. In 2021, dozens of students were taken from the nearby College of Forestry. Dr. Popola's kidnappers are asking for 40 million naira, 19,000 euros, and 25,000 US dollar for their freedom. Although a controversial law criminalizing ransom payments came into effect in 2022, they are still often paid by relatives desperate to free their loved ones. The law carries a jail sentence of at least 15 years for anyone who pays a ransom, although no one has yet been convicted. The government is yet to comment on the strike or the doctor's situation. Dr. Abdullahi told the BBC that the family was exploring a diplomatic route initially, but they have now given us the permission to explore other options. In recent years, kidnapping has become rife in Nigeria, with hundreds of people abducted, largely by criminal gangs who see it as an easy way to make money. It has been particularly bad in the northwest of the country. Reporting for Gambian Talents TV News, I am Mudlamin Joub.
France's left-wing leaders have backed protesters against President Emmanuel Macron after he refused to nominate a government led by the left wing, New Popular Front Alliance (NFP). The four-party coalition won the most seats in the last month's parliamentary elections and said its candidate, Paris civil servants Lucy Castis, should be named Prime Minister, even though they fell far short of majority. Mudlamin Job again.
President Macron said France needed institutional stability and the left could not win a confidence vote that would come immediately from its opponents in parliament. Mr. Macron, whose centrist Ensemble alliance came second in the election, began new consultations with party leaders on Tuesday. He appealed to three of the four left-wing parties, the Socialists, Greens, and Communists, to work with other political forces to find a way out of the impasse, without mentioning the radical left France Unbowed, which won the most seats of the four. However, the three parties refused to take up. Socialist leader Olivier Faure said he would not be an accomplice in a parody of democracy. Marine Tondelier of the Greens said her party would not continue this circus, these shame consultations. No one group was able to win a majority in the elections, with the NFP gaining more than 190 seats. Mr. Macron's centrist Ensemble alliance about 160 and the far-right National Rally RN 140. Mr. Macron's term in office continues until 2027, and the French government tends to be formed from the president's party, as parliamentary elections usually follow soon after the presidential vote. But that changed when he called the snap parliamentary elections this summer. A caretaker government has led France since the 7th July vote, including during the Paris Olympics, to the anger of the NFP alliance. France Unbowed LFI reacted angrily to the president's words, with National Coordinator Manuel Bompard complaining of an unacceptable anti-democratic coup. LFI leader Jean-Luc Mélenchon went further with a threat to impeach the president. The party called on youth organizations and other groups to take part in a big mobilization on 7 September, accusing the president of seriously endangering democracy. Communist leader Fabien Roussel urged the French people to protest. They were in town centers and in front of prefectures. Olivier Faure of the Socialists said he too would take part in demonstrations if they took place. "I am not looking for chaos," he said. "I am saying that's what is being created by the head of state." Lucy Castet, 37, was an unlikely choice of candidate for prime minister. She is financial director at Paris City Hall, and as a senior civil servant, she is unelected. She told French radio on Tuesday that the head of state was telling the people of France they had got the vote wrong. "Democracy means nothing to the president, and I find that extremely dangerous." Both Ensemble and National Rally, whose leaders met the president on Monday, have vowed to vote down candidates from the NFP. Ardent leaders Marine Le Pen and Jordan Bardella described the NFP as a danger for France. Reporting for Gttv News, I am Mudlamin Job.
That news brings us to the end of this news bulletin. But before we end this program, let's look at our top stories once again. 3 ambassadors have presented their credentials to President Adama Barrow. The task force mandate to execute the controversial operation to clear the roads has resumed with full force, which has so far seen mass arrests of vendors who were found occupying the already cleared places. We now shift our attention to international scene. Doctors in Nigeria are on strike after one of their colleagues were kidnapped. This comes as Nigeria sees trending kidnapping for the past decades. Thank you for viewership and keep tuning to Gttv from me and our production team. Do have a restful night. Bye.